I just almost wanted to cry and just, kind of console yourself and be like, you're not broken. This whole time you thought, why can't I just do this? Why can I not just stop eating whenever I'm, whenever I'm in a binge or I'm freaking out? Why can't I just do it right? Is what I would always say to myself. And then just hearing that, like, all this is a habit. It's
Yeah.
just a habit that can be broken. So then even whenever I'm trying to help my son with different things not related to food or whatever, it's just a habit. It just kind of simplifies it to where you're like, oh, okay, so this isn't just like some big scary monster. It's just a habit. It's just what you've always done. But like you can change your habit, even though food seems so heavy to me. Um, or that my relationship with food, I know now that it's just a thing. Like it's not that big hairy monster anymore. Now it's just this thing right here that I need to take care of, and then I can take care of these things, and it doesn't overwhelm me as much as it used to.
What is going on, Busy Bariatrics? I'm Rob, your favorite VSG man turned bariatric coach, here to help you stop white knuckling chicken and broccoli, ditch the cardio confusion, and actually fix the habits, patterns, and behaviors that got you stuck in the first place. Let's get gritty, let's get honest, let's get busy. Before we dive in, though, can you do me a solid? Can you screenshot this episode, tag me, and share it with someone who needs real bariatric strategy, not fluffy Pinterest motivation? It helps the community grow, and it helps more folks break the cycle. All right, now let's get into it. Today, I've got one of my favorite clients on the planet. Someone who showed up messy, but showed up anyway. Someone who rebuilt her relationship with food, her mindset, and her confidence with consistent reps. Keri Ratliff. Keri, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, Keri, tell me a little bit about why you had bariatric surgery, as well as like why you decided to join Busy Bariatrics.
I mean, I've kind of just always been overweight. It's always bothered me. I've always had issues with food, things like that. I've tried several diets. It's always been, my husband was always kind of interested in the weight loss surgery. And for some reason, I was kind of against it. I thought, no, I don't think it's that bad. I can figure it out. And it's just been too many years. And I thought, you know what? I don't want my son seeing this. I want to do better. I want to have a good relationship with food. I want to be lighter. I don't want to have issues, whenever I'm older and things like that associated with weight. And so I thought I had some family members that I didn't know were interested in having the surgery. And whenever they had done it, I really kind of got to, I thought, well, if they're even doing it too, maybe there's more to this. So I thought, okay, talk to my husband about it. And I said, I'm just going to do some research, kind of figure it out, really look into things that I had questions for and just see what happens. I didn't tell anybody about it in the family because I wanted it to just be my decision.
Yeah, I think that's very common. Is people take the approach of like, look, I kind of want to figure this out and process it for myself.
Yes.
And I don't think we give enough credit of sometimes it's important to just kind of reflect on your own and then realize if this was the right decision for you. Did you have a little bit of that feeling and process when you started to work through it?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and just even the things that like some of my family members had said that they were kind of against it or just didn't think it was the best idea. I was learning so much more about like hormones and things like that. And I thought, oh my gosh, like this is really something that there's more to this. And so they're right whenever they say, if you don't really know about it, you can't have too much of an opinion. So really try to educate yourself. And so that's kind of what I did. And I listened to several podcasts and people and things like that, and just seeing their results and thinking, I really think this is going to be something that will help me more long term.
Yeah, and I think it's always good that when people do their research, they do the results. And I know it'll probably come up at some point throughout the episode, the idea of people who just kind of like give their opinion without knowing everything that goes into bariatric
Yes.
surgery. But
Yeah.
you decide to have bariatric surgery. Tell me how it went from the jump after surgery.
So it went really great. I mean, I was already, trying to make sure that I was getting my water in. I was really working on the head work and just preparing myself to have the surgery and just what all I had to do afterwards. I listened to several people, different podcasts, people talking about how they did things. I listened to everything that my weight loss surgery center said to do, did everything the way I mean, I was, you know,
To achieve.
making sure I
Yeah.
did. Yes, I was making sure I did everything that I was supposed to so I could have good results and just be smart about it as far as staying hydrated and things like that.
I still remember when we met for your discovery call and you were just I want to say this the right way because you remind me of so many of our clients that thrive once they get into our program because you really came from a mindset of like, look, I'm already working out, I'm already doing my nutrition, I'm already getting my steps. Why am I not getting like that needle to budge a little bit better. Can you kind of tell us about when you decided to apply and why you decided to apply other than that? Because
Yeah. Well, I had, like I said, I had family members that had done it but they weren't really in the same place as me. Like I wanted to get into weights. I wanted to do that. I really wanted this to be a lifestyle change because I was ready for it, but I didn't really know who to follow. And I had so many questions. And so I had listened to a podcast before where, the former Fat Friend podcast, where I felt like I was literally talking with my girls. I would go on walks, I would listen to them. And I just thought, God, they're having the same issues as me. And you came on there one time and I heard you saying, I think I might have been maybe 8 or 9 months into the first year,
yeah,
afterwards. And I thought, I really want to follow along with what my program did. But then I found out that there was more to it. There was more things they talked about being mindful, your, relationship with food, which I knew mine wasn't great, but didn't really know how to fix it. And so whenever I found out about you, I thought, well, I'm going to give it just a little bit longer, give that first year up. So I really wanted to utilize all that. And I started listening to your podcast and seeing some videos. And I signed up for the email. And so I get all these little emails that were coming in there. I thought, man, I really need to read those emails. I really need to just get motivated that way. And so, yeah, I just kind of
I
decided.
laugh in the best way possible. First off, like Casey, Allie, and Lisa, they have such great voices, and we hear that so often of like, it sounds like you're just the fourth person over coffee talking to them.
Yeah.
But also that like it gave a lot of people a sense of like they're not alone. These are things they struggle with. This is how they work with it, and this is how we kind of do it. But it's very common. Like try not to like push too much in all the content in places. But we need those constant reminders. And it's like I always say get on the email list because you don't have to read the emails every day, but when you're ready to read one of them, it's always kind of there for you for like a fresh
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I felt like I had friends that I was talking to or that I was listening to about what was going on, the different things that they went through. And I can't tell you how many times out loud I was just like, yes, that's exactly what I'm struggling with. And so then whenever you had come on and one of the girls said that I think she used the program and
yeah.
I thought I really need to be looking into this more. And I can't remember what it was, but I just thought I'm just going to reach out. I'm just going to talk to him, kind of see what it does because I really needed the community. But then once I got into Busy Bariatrics, finding out more about how important it was to be mindful and all the other facets, whenever you want to get into that, but all the other facets to it that I didn't really realize were going to make a difference in my weight loss for a lifetime.
Yeah, and it was just like such a cool experience talking to you initially because we did have this level and you had this base of understanding. And I remember initially you're like, I'm going to start in our remote package and come to like the community group coaching calls. And I was always proud of you because the first, I want to say 5 weeks, not only were you there, you had questions locked and loaded of, hey, I'm doing this with my macros. What do you think of this? I'm doing this with that. What do you think of this? Like, not to go into too much of your details, but you definitely had this great student's mindset. And it was a lot of the work we did was just, we're going to change one thing for this week. And we're going to see how this one thing implements. And the next week it'd be like, okay, we're going to do this thing this week. And then kind of go into that. And then a lot of the work like that we saw was you also getting into Thrive Inside the Hive. So how did the mini lessons kind of help guide a little bit more of the nutrition and the mindset work?
Well, I definitely joined at exactly the right time because whenever I started seeing those videos, I thought, oh my gosh, this is what I need. I loved how it was different subjects, of course, like the nutrition, the building the habits, and being able to, if there was something where I was more struggling in a certain area, I could go in there and just binge watch on those, or I would bit on the treadmill and just watch them. Yeah, Thrive Inside the Hive there's been several that I've just gone over and listened to again just because you pick up on something the second or third time whenever you watch it that you didn't the first time, or sometimes you get to sit down and be taking notes. But Thrive Inside the Hive is amazing, and I love to be able to because I was already watching your videos and stuff like that before that. So whenever it started to be more central focused on certain things that I was struggling with, yeah, it was just a huge help.
Yeah, it's kind of cool watching people use the whole ecosystem because I always feel like the email list is kind of like an appetizer. Like we give pretty good insight, but a lot of it is almost like just like a pep talk of like, hey, here it goes. Here's what you should do. Here's what you should think about. The podcast kind of like breaks down, here's how we do it for others. And then when you get inside Thrive, it's a totally different content level of here's like actionably what you should be journaling about, what you should be considering, how it changes over time. And one of the things I was always so proud of you, and I still am, is you really got into journaling. Can you kind of explain like how we journal in Busy Bariatrics and how you do it? Because I feel like if everyone just did it your way, we would, well, it's a testament of you could really just do our hive level programming. And if you get deep on journaling and show up, you can get amazing results. So take it
Yeah.
from there.
With the journaling, I mean, because I'm always, especially in the first thing in the morning, I'm always thinking about all this stuff. And so to be able to sit down and just actually, there's something about putting it onto paper and writing it down and you're reading it again as you're writing it to just really get to focus on what some of the issues are and to be able to put it down and look at it later or to just I don't know, there goes into something with writing something that it really you're communicating with yourself. I don't know, it's odd how it works, but yeah, to be able to go in there and go back and read it and circle trends that I see that I'm doing or certain things that I'm, having issues with. And yeah, absolutely. Journaling has been more than I thought it would be. I never have been like write in a diary. I've just never done that. And so instead of feeling like I'm talking to somebody else and being nervous to going into a certain subject, not knowing if they would really understand my issues, where I'm just talking to myself about it. And so there's that compassion for yourself too that I wasn't ever good at, that I got better about to where I'm not criticizing myself, and it allows you to be more honest with yourself, I guess, in a way to where you're able to put it into words to where I can even tell my coach and be like, I finally put it into words. This is what I'm having trouble with. So yeah, it kind of picks different things from you as you go and write things down, I guess, that you didn't realize were an issue.
So much good from there. And if you're watching on YouTube, gang, I am like beaming from what Keri said, because for a lot of people, I think we have this weird idea, especially like in the bariatric community, of like when we say journaling, it's like you have to sit on your bed, on your stomach with your feet up, and like you're writing like, Dear Diary, today I had 3 blueberries and I realized sugar is not my enemy. And so much of what we do in our hive lessons is like just some really deep emotional questions that can sometimes be like a little bit difficult to answer. But what, Keri, you do really well is you then kind of go back and review holistically. Here's the big picture of what's going on. And then you were really good of checking in with your coach, but also like messaging me like the bigger revelation when everything's done of here's the habits, patterns, behaviors I'm identifying. Here's what I'm struggling with, and here's what I want to focus on. And it's just been really cool to watch your progress take off, because I think for a lot of people, they have that frou-frou idea of like journaling, whereas in reality, if you just treat it as we're going to go through our feelings and turn it almost into facts and see where everything comes in, it really took off for you.
Yeah. My brain really, I told you, I think it was maybe like a month into it or whatever. My brain really was a lot quieter. There was a lot less of the just frantic, panicking voices and things that you would say or whatever from the first night that whenever we sat down on like the introduction call and I said what I was looking for. And you just calmly said, you found your people. And it's like right whenever that happened, my brain just slowed down and it just relaxed. And I felt like you just had your hands on my shoulders and you're like, it's going to be fine. And since I didn't have any of that specific support that I always had people being encouraging, but as far as somebody that can give you direction on what you can actually do or change, that was huge for me. And that's what I needed really bad. So as much as I would say, I hate that I waited so long to do surgery, I wasn't ready for it years ago. And I did have to mentally get ready for where I needed to be and that I was done with what I was doing before. So yeah, this was right whenever I needed it to happen.
Yeah, and one of the cool things, like even from like starting with your bariatric journey through even listening to Former Fat Friend and even how you've evolved in the hive, you've really captured the idea of like, look, it can be the right program, but if you're not ready to receive it, it's not the right time for you. And that doesn't mean that it's never going to be the right time. But the cool part of watching your entire evolution is you really do reflect, you process, you do the work. There'll be times when we're on community calls or you'll message me and then I'll kind of get back like an okay. And I know that's the okay from you of your wheels are turning, you're going to
Yeah.
take some time to digest. And I say that in the best way possible. I think a lot of people don't take that time to really process. But then more importantly, say, hey, I've processed, now I'm going to implement. What are some of the strategies you've kind of learned or developed of taking all the processing you do in your journaling and putting it into real life?
Well, I mean, I make a list of things that I'm like, I want to look more into this, or certain specific things that I want to find out about. The calendaring was huge for me. And it's funny because the things that I was most reluctant to do, or I just thought, I really don't think that's going to help much. Calendar, geez, has been huge because I am a list person. I do like to make lists for reminders, but being able to calendar it or making tasks, I have actually started doing it on Google Calendar instead of writing it out because I always have my phone with me. And so that kind of took me a little bit to realize kind of what all am I actually going to put into it. And then I realized doctor's appointments and these things for my son are different. He's in sixth grade now. And so he has a lot more things to do with school. And so having the reminders and having all of that stuff in the calendar. So whenever I felt like, okay, I feel like I want to relax, but I also feel like I need to do something. And then if it's on my calendar, I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like I've already done this stuff. And so it does allow you to kind of relax a little bit more than it would have before. So yeah.
I love it because Josh Wiener, my financial coach, has always taught me that discipline gives us the freedom to spend. And I think for a mom with everything you have going on, calendaring and being disciplined with your calendar gave you the freedom to relax of the idea of, I'm not missing something, there's nothing that's coming up. Or more importantly, of yes, it is coming up and I'm holding space next week for it. Right now, I get to just be fully present, whether it's spending time with your son or, going to the gym or just taking some time to decompress or try a new recipe. Like that I think has been the coolest part of seeing your process, but also like, you've kind of heard me in the hive and in every community call. I am a stickler for the calendar because a lot of the times people like either don't hold boundaries with either themselves, their loved ones, or the gym. And sometimes like it's not even like a bad thing. Like it's one of those of like, yeah, my I do want to kind of do this with my family or I do want to do this with my friends, but then I'm missing the gym. It's like, no, being able to say, I'm going to the gym now and I will see you later, or I will see you later. I will see you now and I will go to the gym later really does
Yeah.
allow you to do the most bang for your buck with that.
Well, I always felt like I'm like, we don't have that a hugely busy schedule, but I still felt like there was things that I wanted to get done that I couldn't get done. I didn't understand why. And so now being able to concentrate more with the calendar and be like, no, I can actually it's just like if you have company coming over and you have 15 minutes to get the whole house clean. You can get it clean in 15 minutes because there's that pressure to do it. But if you have hours, you're like, no, I'm just gonna sit down or I'm gonna do this. It's like that same principle. So yeah.
I forget the actual term, but in business, I know it's like each meeting or activity will take however long you give it the time to do it. And I even see that sometimes when we have like our coaching calls or something else. It's like, oh, people are using the whole hour because we've scheduled an hour, whereas like we could probably do this in 15 minutes or do like
Yes.
23 and get it from there. So getting that feeling is such a beautiful part of the process. So we got this calendar together. We got our journaling together. We've worked on the mindset. How would you say your nutrition has evolved since joining Busy Bariatrics?
Well, that was another thing that I thought I will never track macros. That seems like so confusing, a pain in the butt, and I'm not going to do it. And now I just to see that you can build a meal that's just more satisfying. And so I feel like I'm not depriving myself of anything, but by the combination of everything, the three macros that we're eating, it's way more satisfying. I feel fuller longer, but I'm also not cutting out really any food group like I thought that you had to, because that's what they talk about in with the surgery center. While it was great, I felt totally taken care of while I was there. There's just so much that they still don't hit on as far as for being long term. Um, so yeah, that's been macros has probably been the biggest deal of learning how I can build a meal. It's still good to have fat. It's still good to have carbs. It's still fine to where I'm not so limited and I still feel like I can do this forever and it's not going to be something where I gain the weight back again.
And I have to tell you, even in your voice and your language now compared to where you started, I remember those early calls and messages of, can I have carbs? What is the deal with fruit and how we do everything? And just listening and hearing to you now, this is the goal I want for everyone in the bariatric community. You have such a calmness and a presence when you talk about food. And it's been
Yeah.
cool to watch you even talk to some of our newer bees coming in because you really have like grown and developed into someone of like, guys, look, I get it's scary. If you do the work, reflect on it and do it, it works. I Like, you'll be the first to say, like, are you 100% there? No, but you're so much further along and you continue to grow and develop. But more importantly, you're setting the tone for everyone behind you. Why is it so important to kind of help the next group of bees as they come in? And why do you show up as well as you do?
Well, because I'm thinking of the Keri that first started.
Yeah.
Whenever I see somebody get really panicked or whatever, and I just kind of giggle because I'm like, God, I was there. Like I did the same thing. And anytime I would text you or message you and I would say I was kind of panicking. I was like, this happened, I did like a kind of like a binge or I went off, like I just kind of freaked out and emotionally ate. And you just calmly said, it's just part of the process. And at the time I was like, well, that doesn't help because I just always felt like there was something that I had to, this has to be figured out now. If I'm not doing it now, it's because I'm screwing it up. And whenever you would say that, it was more like the calming. And that's what I want to give to the newbies because I hear my same panic that I had whenever they panic too. And you always want to try to do everything at once. You want to get your journaling, your calendar down. You want to figure out your food. You want to have the meal planning, all of this. And because I always felt like you had to do it right, or you just, if you can't do it that way, then you might as well not even try. And so, just to be able to, for me to give the calmness and reassurance to the new ones, like I got in return, but also, again, like I said, talking to me, like whenever I first started, having those reassuring words to them that this is all fine. It's going to be a process. It's going to take forever to change some of these things. Sometimes it will never be perfect, but it doesn't mean that you're not still working and you're not still better than you were yesterday.
So much good. I want to go into there with that because it just shows how far you've come. I think the biggest mistake we see bariatric patients make, and even people who come into busy bariatrics, is they have that initial binge or they have that initial, like, I ate well over my calories. And I think a lot of the times they think I'm going to come in and be like, yo, you need to purge your kitchen. You need to get everything else. Like, we
Yes.
need to increase the ceiling. When in reality, you're already like you're seeing someone struggle to get over a hurdle. Raising the hurdle higher does not make it easier. It just tells people. So our answer is always like, let's raise the floor. So I remember initially you would tell us like you had this episode and it's like, okay, like maybe you had a 3 day binge or a bender, or like you felt derailed for 3 days. The goal is just like, okay, next time it happens, let's shoot to come back from two. If you track openly and honestly and you went over by even 2,000 calories on your macros, okay, the next bad day you have, let's just shoot for 1,500. Um, and I know that was sometimes tough for like you to hear and for other people to hear, but I think when we really look at the idea of you have to eat food for life, and we cannot expect you to even fix your relationship with food in 7 weeks or even 7 months. It's a lifetime of growth, development, and understanding. And the Keri now is just such a calmer, more confident Keri with her relationship with food, with her relationship with the gym, with the relationship with her family and with herself. I'm so proud to see that that growth has really developed in how you kind of show our newer clients like, hey guys, I totally get it.
Yes.
You're going to get here sooner than you think if you just do the work correct.
Yeah. Well, hearing that, like, I'm not broken, you said that to me a couple times, and I almost wanted to just, and wasn't even directly to me, it was just hearing you say it. And I just almost wanted to cry and just, kind of console yourself and be like, you're not broken. This whole time you thought, why can't I just do this? Why can I not just stop eating whenever I'm, whatever, whenever I'm in a binge or I'm freaking out? Why can't I just do it right? Is what I would always say to myself. And then just hearing that, like, all this is a habit. It's just a habit that can be broken. So then even whenever I'm trying to help my son with different things not related to food or whatever, it's just a habit. It just kind of simplifies it to where you're like, oh, okay, so this isn't just like some big scary monster. It's just a habit. It's just what you've always done. But like you can change your habits. There's certain things that you change in other areas of your life. It's the exact same way. Even though food seems so heavy to me, or that my relationship with food, I know now that it's just a thing. Like it's not that big hairy monster anymore. Now it's just this thing right here that I need to take care of, and then I can take care of these things, and it doesn't overwhelm me as much as it used to. And I said a few times in the calls that the calmness and the quietness in my brain now is so much better. It's like you almost don't even remember how it was before. You just
Yeah.
remember it was.
Yeah. And I think especially we see it so much in the community when people are talking about food noise and like the anxiety they get around with food. And I don't want to take that away from anyone, but I do believe if you start to do the head work, you start to understand like you can eat more foods if you put them in the right portions and you learn the nutritional understanding. And it's almost like you can't build a house every day. It's like you just have to work on one little aspect of it and grow it and develop it.
Right, right. Well, and I wanted to mention one thing, dealing with Kylie and having her as my coach.
Yeah, we should probably bring her up.
Yeah, I definitely want to bring her up. She's my favorite, and she's not very far away. And I haven't said this to her as far as our location. I kind of want to meet up with her one of these days, but after the holidays, stuff like that. So we'll talk about it. But she's really been able to help me narrow down on habits that I had that I didn't even realize I was doing, like avoidance. I have a tendency to avoid, like, if it's something that stresses me out. Well, I'm just gonna put that over here because I can't deal with it right now.
I'm going
But
to
then
box
not.
up and move.
Yes, yes. And once I was listening to another podcast about head work, and they said that, like, this is what's known as avoidance. And I'm like, oh my God, she's talking to me. Like, this is 100% what I do. And just to be able to put it into words and to take it to my coach and be like, this is what I'm struggling with. And so now it's out of my head. I can put a word to it. I can put it, what do they say? Name it and you can tame it.
Yes.
It was huge to hear that. So to hear that I do avoid, whether it's, oh, I'm having this issue medically, I really need to call the doctor, but I just know it's probably going to clear up, or I'm going to go in there and spend money and then they'll tell me, oh, it's fine, just give it more time. Just the whole avoidance that I had, I didn't realize was nice to be able to put it into words, like I said, and tell her.
I know we have an episode in the Hive from Laura Grabeau, which is all about name it to
Yes.
tame. And when she is on other people's podcasts, that is like her clarion call. But that's also why we do so much in Busy Bariatrics with bringing in some of the best professionals to either speak about it, go over it, understand it. You got to experience summer camp.
Yeah.
Last summer. What were some of the speakers like, and what were some of the takeaways that you had?
Oh gosh, I mean, it went further out of the scope of what people think of as weight loss than more than I thought. So, was it Josh Wiener? Whenever we talked about finances, it's the same kind of indulgence. You have like a little budget for calories, you have a budget for your money, and so it was nice to hear him just as far as how to use Google Calendar and how to be more organized, or different things that people might want to start into, like with was it rucking and things like that. I was always kind of interested, but didn't really know how to get started. That was great. Just hearing a lot more of the Connie Stapleton was amazing. I had listened to, just being in this group and hearing these names too, to where, like, oh, that was a really good episode, or in summer camp, I'm going to go into their podcast and I'm going to look for more subjects. I'm just being introduced to all these people. And that's another great thing for me to have done my surgery now versus 10 years ago, is there's not nearly the presence for bariatrics that there is now.
Yeah.
And so being able to share that with my husband too, who's actually, we're not yet approved for insurance, but he's going to be having his surgery, and being able to be on that road with him and being able to share it with him. Yes. And be like, this is something that I heard, and like just sharing it with somebody who gets it too. So yeah, the summer camp was, whenever I first started, I thought I'm going to be able to get into that, right? Because I didn't know whether it was another part of busy bariatrics or what. And so I was super pumped to be able to get on that and to listen to all the people and the speakers.
Yeah, we that just comes with part of the coaching. Everyone's always like, is it more or is it separate? And it's like, no, we just add it to our deal. And it's why, like in Busy Bariatrics, we don't really have sales because we know the value of our coaching, and you see that with Kai.
Yes.
Getting into one-to-one, I just think is such a powerful part of our
Yes.
process. But it's always like, what do we add with that?
Yes. Yeah, with one-to-one, it was amazing because I've even messaged her a few times, be like, okay, I feel kind of whiny asking this. And she's like, no, I'm your coach. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to come to me. And so the more I was vulnerable, and the more that I really just spit out everything that I was having issues with, you guys were able to hone in, see where I really needed the help at, and help me with that. And so yeah, it's made me become even more open to telling you guys, okay, whenever I had this slip up, this is exactly what happened. This is kind of what was going on before. This is how I handled it. Just to be able to blurt that all out and have you guys figure out what we needed to talk about and what I needed to focus on was a huge help, because you just kind of feel like you have it all in your head and don't know what to concentrate on first. And having people tell me, okay, this is what we're going to concentrate on. You're really good at working out. You can do that. You do it in the morning first thing, but then you need to spend some time with this, and then finding something that I was avoiding and seeing where I could change that around, and seeing how it helped me um, to get my whole picture, kind of get my arms around things.
Yeah, and I just love because you showed the whole process right there of taking everything that's going on in your mind and then dumping it onto paper, but then taking that paper and reflecting and refining, and then taking that to your one-to-one coach. And it's not just that 30-minute session every other week where you get vulnerable and raw. It's now we're going to process it, and there might be revelations that happen within that time and even your check-in the following week. But being able to like message someone intimately from that one perspective and be like, hey, this is what I've realized and understood. What do I make of this? And you always give a very good finished process of we really just have to do fine little tweaks because
Yeah.
you've done the work. But I think that's where one-to-one coaching really does shine is we're giving you the prompts, we're guiding you in the right direction, but also like if you need something on a Tuesday of does this look right or how do we do this, we're there for you. And it plays a really big part of your entire process.
Yeah, one-to-one coaching, I told you, has made a big difference for me. So yeah, I definitely love it. So it's helped a
Exactly.
lot.
And going right in the theme of like, I'm going to start, I'm going to research, I'm going to process, and then get into the program and part that works for you. We've talked about building habits now. We've talked about showing up for ourselves and understanding nutrition. Let's dial in that S, the staying active. You
Yes.
came to us with a lot of goals when it came to like your relationship with the gym and going through
Mhm.
everything. Do you kind of
Yes.
want to walk us through where you came from and where you are today?
Yeah. So I always do better if I have some kind of instruction. So I did CrossFit for a little bit, came away with some few injuries, but it was fun. Like everybody in there was real. It kind of started the gym mentality of not everybody's intimidating as you think they are. And everybody has their own issues that they're dealing with. Everybody's basically looking at themselves. So whenever I started to get back into the gym, I did have I don't know what to do with this equipment. I don't know what to do next. So the fact that somebody was going to give me instruction and help me work all of the things the way that you're supposed to work, that's totally foreign to me. So being able to understand the progression where you're supposed to work on certain parts of your body to really build muscle, I didn't really know that that was a thing. So that's probably why I never really had success in the past. So being able to send in my form videos or be able to talk to Lisa about, okay, this one, I can't really do this one. I had a tendon repair in my ankle. There's certain things that I can't do, but what else can I do? And so there was always something. It wasn't like, well, you can't do this, so you can't do anything. So for you all to really work me in to where I feel more comfortable about pushing the weight, to where I feel more comfortable with building it, how I want to build it, the frame, what am I trying to say? The form and different things, being able to ask, hey, am I doing this right? You all really helped me with getting into feeling more comfortable in the gym at all. And I've made great friends at the one that I'm at. It's a smaller gym and we see the same people pretty much every morning. It's really the trainer with this program is way better than the trainer that I had before that, which I really do want to get into. But yeah, just I feel like that little tidbit has to be shared.
I will gently let us go there, but I will also hype up Lisa, who does all of our
Yes.
programming and form adjustments, because I think it's important. As of this recording, I have taken it back over just because Lisa is recovering from surgery repair. And I forgot the level of detail she puts into her work of giving the proper feedback, going over each form video, making sure that you're getting the results. You did have an in-body scan when you came. Where do you want to go? Do you want to do in-body scan or do you want to talk about the difference of trainers?
Yeah, we can. So whenever I signed on oh, go ahead.
Let's do the in-body scan because then I think at the
Okay. Yeah.
end we'll just kind of close up of like, here's where we were, here's
Yes.
where we're now, and we'll go.
Yeah. So whenever I started at the gym that I got signed up. It was after a year. My program didn't want us really working out much more than walking past the first year, which is
Comical, but yeah.
yes, right? Okay. So I thought, okay, past a year, I think it was just short of that. I thought, I know I've listened to so many podcasts. They say in order for this to be long term, you have to get in the gym, you have to build muscle, which is what I wanted. So I was like, okay, this is great because now I know how I can balance the nutrition while I'm trying to build muscle. So I had a scan and it said that of course that my lean muscle mass was low, which I knew that it would be because I just had surgery, you lose a lot of muscle. So I had been working out with a trainer for I think it was maybe like 4 months before I started. No, it was like 2 months before I started with Busy Bariatrics. And I was thought, how is this going to work? I'm already seeing a trainer, which I was seeing results with, which I liked. And I was comfortable with it. I had somebody that was literally telling me what to do right there in front of me. If I needed correction on form, that he was doing that. And then of course, it went through our discussions of he was starting to hear that I was leaning more towards another program, but it's because I had community, I had someone helping me with eating, I had all of this other stuff, the other four quadrants I felt like that I needed help with, and here he was with just working out. So I was going to try to do both, and you said that's fine, we can do that. And then we were going to kind of work on what I could do on those other days where I wasn't with him. Well, one time I was in the gym and I was doing the program you all had given me, and he walked up to me and said, I really, this kind of sucks that you're doing that because now this is going to interrupt with what I was going to be training you with. So I'm like, okay. And so I kind of went back and forth with that. I didn't want to make him mad, but I thought this is what I need. Like, I know I need busy bariatrics. I know I need the help with the head work. I need the help with the nutrition. That's more of where I want to go. And I didn't have anybody that I could talk to about that kind of stuff. Because anytime he would talk to me, he would say, well, I can help you with nutrition. Just pay me more. And I'm like, well, I don't want to just do that. I was like, but I need more help with the nutrition. He said, well, I can help you. He said, what is busy bariatric, or, he said with bariatric surgery, you just eat less, right? And right then I thought, he does not get it. He is not the one. And it's not his fault. He just he didn't know. And so I was messaging him later on that day at work where I was basically sent the breakup text. And I was like, hey, I really, I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I really need to go with busy bariatrics. And I'll never forget, he told me, but you won't build muscle on that program. And I thought,
And
why
I
would a
took that
trainer
personally.
Yes. Why would a trainer, so did Lisa. I thought, why would a trainer ever say that to somebody that, because most of the trainers that I know, like they want to encourage people, they wanted to, but he was making it more about him. And I thought, I can't let this be about him because this is the one time I'm going to make it about me. And I can't remember when it was, but it was a few months ago. I thought I was really seeing definition in my arms and my back, my chest. Even my husband was like, holy cow. He said, I can definitely tell a difference. So then I wasn't, as self-conscious about wearing like the tank tops and things like that to the gym, because just to see the muscle and see the curves and the light hit it just right and you're like, holy crap. I thought I want to go in there and do a DEXA scan. And so I asked him, I didn't realize that he had taken over management at the gym. And I said, is it all right if I go in and do a DEXA scan? He's like, yeah. And I went and did it after work, got on there, did the scan. And I'll never forget, I thought I knew that the muscle had increased, but I had my sheet of paper that had the information on it at my house. So I run home after work. I look at the old scan. There was 9 pounds of muscle that I had gained from him. And I wanted so bad to be like, what were you saying? This was where I was before. Oh, okay. I just want to let you know. But the fact that he sees me every morning because he's training the other people, sees me every morning, whether he wants to talk to me or not, because now I'm dead to him.
Yeah.
He sees the muscle. And what's funny is people that he's training, they've come up to me while he's talking to them and been like, girl, you look great. Like your back looks amazing. Your arms are definite. That's all the validation that I need because he sees it, whether he wants to admit it or not. And it's just awesome because here he is, this guy who's younger than Lisa. And I've got Lisa and been like, she can whoop your butt any day of the week with her programming.
I
And
would
it's
not
just
mess
awesome.
with Lisa or her program.
Yes. And I just love it because she does all different kinds of workouts, ones that I forgot that I liked. And then if there's other ones that I need help, like it's just, I don't get bored. Because that's the thing is whenever I would do like tapes at home, if I would do things, I easily got bored. But the way that we do the programs of 3 different workouts during the week, that doesn't it challenges me enough to where I can see that the weight's going up on what I can lift, but it's not to where, I get bored. So like I look forward to the beginning of the month whenever things are different. It's like, okay, what do we get to do this time? It doesn't ever get stale. I always feel challenged. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so much good in there. And it's funny because before we recorded, I went back because we had done a carousel on you of your transformation. And I was looking at the progress pics that we shared on our Busy Bariatrics Instagram page. And I was just like, dear God, you have almost transformed your back in the best way possible. Like you have
Yes.
this beautiful definition. Your shoulders have this perfect arch. Even how you stand in your poses, you have a level of confidence that just it shines through the
Yeah.
page when you do everything. And it's a testament to how hard you've worked and that it was nothing really that profound. It was just showing up every day, doing the work, and then asking the questions of how can I get better? What should I tweak? And then the most important part of the sauce, listening to Lisa, which does like
Yes.
90% of
Yes.
that for you.
Yes, no, I love all her programming. It was cool to see that, like, because they say whenever you put on muscle, of course, muscle weighs more than fat. And so I wasn't necessarily losing a lot on the scale. My clothes were getting looser. I saw in the pictures to where just more definition in my back. and things like that. So that was crazy. I never really understood what body comping was until I did this program and I saw the results. And I really proved to myself this is what consistently looks like. So on those days whenever I'm just like, I don't really want to go, it's been like, but tomorrow I'm going to be thankful. I'll be thankful after I walk out of the gym. So it really showed me and proved to myself that you are going to see results if you keep doing it. So just keep doing it. You're going to feel better after it's done. So just get up and go. And I did every time. So
Love all of that. Keri, for the listeners at home, do you remember roughly what weight you started at in Busy Bariatrics and what weight you're at now? Because I know we've put on 9 pounds of lean muscle, and I know there are going to be women who are listening to this episode who are like, if I gain 9 pounds, I'm going to look bulky and I'm going to be bigger, and that's not the goal.
no, I can't I think I might have been maybe like 174 or something, and I think now I set it like 167. I usually go up or down a couple pounds there, and yeah, I just seeing the difference with the muscle and just I like I said, my pants fit differently. I'm seeing definition in my calves and my legs and my arms, and so I can't 100% remember what it was, but
Yeah, sometimes it really is just that 5 pounds. And then it's just from how muscle looks. You can go on our Instagram page and look at Keri's results. And, you just see like she has just this tighter waist that comes in. Her shoulders look well. I cannot wait for you to have like your next formal wear event because you are going to rock with it. Like you need someone to get married and like we need to get you invited
yeah.
just because I know you're going to rock it, and more importantly, like how your posture looks and how you're feeling and doing everything.
Well, even just, catching yourself in the mirror whenever you leave the bathroom or something, or you're just like, I don't remember, or just seeing your reflection in like a store window. I'm like, holy cow, like I can't believe the definition. I can't believe how much thinner my thighs and everything have got, because that's always kind of been where I've carried the weight. I've already always been like bottom heavy. And just to see that in reflection, I'm like, damn, like that gets exciting to see yourself and not cringe away from it.
It is very common for our female clients where they start lifting and squatting, and we do so much lower body work in our program
Yes.
of really challenging the weights. And everyone's worried that they're going to get bulky, but then like they get this great thigh definition and
Yes.
everything else. And guys, go on Instagram, go look at her progress pics.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal work that you've done. Keri, you've grown so much since joining. I am so proud of you. I feel like we've painted a full picture, but is there anything else that like you want to share or anything we didn't cover that you kind of just want to share about your journey? Just because like I don't know, like I'm so proud of you, but I want to make sure you get anything else in you need.
Yeah. I would say all of the things that you feel like you want to avoid are usually the things that are going to make the difference. Not that I ever wanted to avoid walking, but I wanted to mention that I've got definition in my calves now that I never had. I just start to see bones and veins, and it's totally weird. But just I didn't realize how
That's way
much of a
past.
yes. It's just because I didn't realize there were some there. And so whenever I have to go do blood work, I'm like, it's really easy to find my vein now versus what it was.
Isn't it real quick before we get to the rest? Isn't it like the craziest part of like blood work? I was a really tough stick at my highest weight,
So was I. Yes.
and now they almost are like, oh wow, like we'll take like extra from you. So
Yeah. They'd always say, "Do I have a side?" And I'm like, "Well, it's really just dealer's choice." I said, "It's all there. It's all easy to be seen." And just to see the veins in my hands, and it's just crazy to see, yeah, that there's bones under there, and they're poking through, and it looks really good. And whenever I always envied somebody else, I'm like, God, I wish I had like her legs, or I wish I had her arms or her muscles. And it's like now I have a set of my own. I can see bone. I can see my hands fit. My rings fit different. Just all of that is better. But what I was going to say with walking is just I've even noticed so much more with that. My resting heart rate is lower than it's ever been. My
so
blood
important
pressure
for
is better. Yeah, I've never really had issues with my blood pressure. Of course, I started to get that way whenever I was getting bigger, but just to see now that they're like your blood pressure is great, how much the steps have really leaned me out more than I thought versus just doing the weights. So, and now I actually kind of crave. I just need to get up and walk around. I need to go somewhere and be able to walk. So in the winter, I've already got a plan of where I'm going to go and try to get some indoor walking if I don't want to be at the gym. So
love.
that's been huge. But everything that people are more reluctant or they don't think it's going to make a difference, it makes a difference. I guarantee you. Calendar makes a difference. Macros makes a difference. And having those mindful moments, I never have had a program that's concentrated so much on those mindful moments to go outside, sit on the patio, read, take time for yourself, meditate, do breath work. That's never been something that I've been introduced to in other programs. And that has made it's always been about the working out. So I always thought to lose weight, you have to work out. And I found out that that's just part of it. That's just kind of what makes the package look just a little bit nicer. But for me, food and that head work has been the biggest game changer for me with this.
My goodness, there's like so much I want to talk about from there, from envying others in the gym to being the envy of others to like just having the mindfulness. But Keri, like I just couldn't be prouder of everything that you did. And I want to thank you for coming on and spending time and
Yeah.
sharing your story. So, with that in mind, gang, if you're still listening, and I hope you are, you need to understand that Keri didn't gain 9 pounds of muscle by hoping for it. She got it by doing the reps, both physically and mentally. If you want results, you need to start listening and taking in her behaviors. Don't listen to this episode and go right back to playing. Maybe this week will be different. Make it different. At the end, I really want you to understand that if you learned anything today, you should be sharing this episode because someone out there is stuck in the same loop Keri was, and they need to hear this. So, with that, everyone have a great week and keep getting busy. Thanks again, Keri.
Thanks.